2024 general election and believe that, to a greater extent, they represent the will of the people. We, however, note the discrepancies, unprofessional conduct, dysfunctional occurrences, and inconsistent results capturing that have been brought to our attention from different parts of South Africa. We take this opportunity to thank all EFF ground forces for a job well done. We particularly thank our Youth and Student Mobilization Committee, which sprang into action as Mulungisi Madonsela Battalion and brought the necessary energy and dynamism into our election campaign and programs. The impact of the youth was felt in the 2024 election, and we commend the battalion for a job well done. The 2024 elections were not easy for the EFF, which was fighting not only against the ruling party, but against many puppets of the white racial capitalist establishment existing as political parties and in different media platforms. The 2024 elections were not easy because whatever effort and resources dedicated in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, parts of Gauteng and Mpumalanga were undermined by the commendable and decisive rise of Mkhonto weSizwe, which performed above the EFF in KZN and Mpumalanga. We nevertheless congratulate and commend the people of South Africa for voting out the ruling party from an absolute parliamentary majority, which was abused since 1994. Over the past 30 years, the ANC had used its parliamentary majority to protect mediocrity and corruption, and to also preclude any form of alternative perspective and thoughts on how our country should be governed. In the recent past, during the EFF's participation in parliament, the ANC misused its parliamentary majority to do the following: distorted and voted against the EFF motion that sought to amend Section 25 of South Africa's Constitution, which would have made it possible to expropriate without compensation and to make the state the legitimate custodian of all of South Africa's land. Voted against the EFF motion, which sought to repeal all colonial and apartheid legislations that are still part of South Africa's legislative body and system. Voted against the EFF motion to conduct a parliamentary inquiry on the conditions and remuneration of mine workers and farm workers in South Africa. Voted against the EFF motion to introduce free quality education for the poor at institutions of higher learning. Voted against a parliamentary motion to investigate the allegation of corruption in Eskom. Voted against a well-investigated and clear report on the criminal activities that took place in Palapala farm of the sitting President Cyril Ramaphosa. Voted for the illegal suspension and expulsion of EFF members of parliament from parliamentary participation, which prevented the EFF from participating in the 2024 State of the Nation address. This and many other anomalies constitute the core of how the former liberation movement misused its parliamentary majority and dismally failed to bring about thoroughgoing economic emancipation to the people of South Africa. In the past 30 years, the EFF dismally failed to use the ANC dismally failed to use the parliamentary majority to bring about legislative changes that will have improved the living conditions of our people. We therefore appropriate that for the first time since 1994, the parliamentary majority of the ANC has been broken, and that from now henceforth, Parliament will take decisions based on logic and sense and not on entitlement of being the sole dominant ruling party. Parliament will now be better positioned as a true representative of our people and not a platform to protect the political elite of the ruling class. Now that the parliamentary majority of the ANC has been broken and there is no single political party that can constitute government on its own, we as the EFF will be engaging with different political parties on how we elect leadership of parliament and constitute a government that will lead South Africa for the next 5 years. We will engage with all political parties with an appreciation that a government should be constituted within the next 14 days, meaning that some of the issues might be resolved after the base agreements have been reached. As previously mandated by the Central Command Team, CCT, after the 2021 local government elections, the EFF negotiations principles are as follows. Appreciation of the EFF 7 non-negotiable cardinal pillars for economic freedom in our lifetime, service delivery commitments with timelines particularly on land, jobs, water, electricity, flushing toilets, and care for the people with disability. Anti-racism, meaning that whatever coalition is an outcome of EFF participation must not reinforce white supremacy and Afrikanerdom. Anti-imperialism, meaning that whoever we partner with must not be a puppet or representation of the West imperialist agenda and interests in South Africa. Commitment to Africa, common prosperity and development. Publication of all the concrete agreements reached with coalition partners to avoid a perception that they are secret agreements. Constant and honest engagements and reports to the people on the progress made on coalitions. Additionally, our negotiation principle and demands will include the following: amendment of the Constitution to realize land expropriation without compensation in 6 months, creation of state-owned bank, nationalization of the South African Reserve Bank, cancellation of the historical student debt in 12 months, creation of a state pharmaceutical company in 12 months, passing of insourcing bill in 12 months, removal of distem from the national anthem, opening of clinics for 24 hours, 7 days a week, provision of free sanitary towels for all who need them, provision of free water and electricity for all SASSA beneficiaries. We will engage with all political parties that accept our principle and demands as legitimate, and will respect political parties that believe that our demands are irrational and must not be entertained. While we have decided to form part of the government of South Africa from 2024 onwards, we are not desperate for positions and will not sacrifice principle on the altar of political convenience. The EFF final list of members of parliament and provincial legislatures will be amended to reflect the work done during elections. Those who did not play any role in the election work of the EFF will not go to parliament or provincial legislature, even if their names appear higher on the list submitted before the elections. The EFF officials who are mandated to be the final list committee will meet during the course of the week to conclude on the final list of those who are going to represent the EFF in national parliament and in different provincial legislatures. We advise all EFF members and leaders to comply with the decision of upper structures. Finally, we once again say thank you to our voters, supporters, and those who pledged financial and non-financial support to our movement. We also convey our gratitude to those who kept us in their prayers so that we all are protected during the election program. Thank you, South Africa. Thank you.
For anyone who wants to generate endless power off the grid, do not buy a generator.
Thank you very much, President. We will take a round of hands. You can just show your hands and then we will acknowledge you. Babum Page, I see you are the first to raise your hand. Number 2. Is there any hand that I'm not seeing? I've got a... Okay, I see you, CD. Stay. That's number 4. I can't see you. My sister, sitting down. You're number 5. My brother, number 6.
Number 7 is there.
Number 7. Wait. Okay, number 7, I see you. On the far right.
There, by the light.
Okay, you're number 8. Okay, comrades, everyone who takes the question from number 1, please introduce yourself and give us the outlet at which you're coming from. Thank you very much. Let's start with number 1. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. I know I'm behind the cameras, Mr. Malema, so you may not see me, but you'll hear the voice. It's Mzwandile Mbeje from SAPC. I hear you mentioning some of the key principles that will guide your negotiation in the formation of the government or coalition. But what is it, maybe let me ask it this way, what is it that you are willing to somehow compromise, given that in a negotiation of this nature is a give and take? Out of that principles which you have laid out quite clearly, but I mean, you are aware that South Africans have given you half in terms of mandate. So what is it that you as EFF are willing to somehow compromise? Thanks.
Number 2.
Does the EFF have any parties, especially the ANC, that you say, no, we will not work with this one, we will work with that one? Thank you.
Number 3, everyone who's taking a question, please quietly move to a mic near you. On the tables, there are mics. They're working. Yeah, just use the mic because you don't have a shop steward voice, you guys. So use the mic here. Sit.
Thank you so much. Tidi Madia from Eyewitness News. Just a couple of questions from me.
Can utilize this one. So that...
But I'm on the mic. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Tidi Madia from Eyewitness News. I'm looking at the EFF's performance year on year, election on election. We've watched the EFF grow. We're not necessarily watching that case now. I know people are making a case around the MK party, but as the EFF, and I know it might be too soon, reflected on the role it's played in its current position. And I mentioned that, Julius, because over the years there's been the KZN buses issue, about KZN councillors or the buses issue. There have been issues about seeing people who've been rejected supposedly by the ANC being given posts in parliament. I've had EFF members saying, but we're working to reward these people. So has the EFF also reflected on whether or not you've also played a part in what's happened on that leaderboard behind us? An issue of coalitions. You worked with...
The leadership did not hear the question. Make the question, Tidi. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll understand.
Take 2. When the EFF looks at its current performance, have you played a part as the EFF in where you've come out, in those numbers there? In the past, every other election we've seen you grow. That's not the case in 2024. It's not just, for me, it's not just an MK question. Does the EFF look at itself and say, maybe we also need to reflect on what we should have done better? Right? That's the first question. Secondly, on the issue of coalitions, in 2016, you were in a working relationship with the DA. You're currently in one with the ANC in Ekurhuleni. Part of what the ANC keeps saying is that it wasn't a working relationship. As they look at coalitions now, they say EFF is not desirable because it's difficult to manage the EFF. Is that an unfair assessment from where you stand as you go to the table? And just very quickly, Vianney, last one. My last one, I swear. You have a list of your cardinal pillars that are part of what you go into negotiations with. Some are saying, based on your current performance, you're not going there to the table with the upper hand, that you have no right to dictate the terms. You need to be more amenable to what is possible. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Comrades, let's keep our questions pointed and precise. Number 4.
Good afternoon. My name is Tembile Cele. I'm with Bloomberg News. The first question, just around the configurations that you're thinking of in terms of coalitions. I wonder if you would consider a government of national unity in which all parties that have reached an agreed upon threshold would automatically participate. Would you be in favor of that? That's the one configuration. The second one would be whether or not the agreement that you would be in favor of would affect just the national picture, or if there's scope for it to be a wholesale agreement which would then consider where you participate in local municipalities and at a provincial level as well. And then please, the last one, Vuyani, if possible, will you wait for parties to come to you for these coalition talks, or are there parties that you've identified that you would like to make the approach to first? And which are those parties, if that is the case? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Number 5.
Thank you very much. My name is Lunga. I'm from the Mail and Guardian. Look, I just wanted to ask CIC, during the media briefing, I think it was just before the elections, you said that your position would be in jeopardy if you didn't do well in these elections. Do you feel that there might be some issues where the EFF might want to change you from the leadership? And secondly, do you think the emergency of MK was the reason that the EFF didn't do so well in this election? And what do you think of how they did? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Number 6. Let's move swiftly. Number 6. Okay, we're skipping number 7.
Hello, Alexis Akwajiram. I'm the managing editor of Semaphore Africa. My question is, are there any preconditions with which you would deal with the ANC? And specifically, would you be prepared to work with the ANC only if Ramaphosa stepped down? I ask this because MK said they would not work with the ANC with Ramaphosa in place.
Thank you. Number 7.
Questions have been asked.
Number 8, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mawande. I work for the Sunday World. Mr. Malema, you start off by saying you accept the results. What has changed? Because we saw a lot of complaints, especially from EFF quarters in the Western Cape, about the results, and just generally, EFF members have been among those claiming vote rigging, vote manipulation, and all sorts of fraudulent behavior that they allege against the IEC. Does the leadership feel differently, or did something change between the heightened complaining and now? And then maybe secondly, is the EFF among potential partners willing to work with the DA, which declared the EFF coming into these elections as enemy number 1? Thank you very much.
Are you a low-skilled worker looking to immigrate to Canada? Look no further. This video will discuss the top...
Thank you very much. I think the first round is done. We'll give it to the leadership, Commander-in-Chief.
Thank you very much. We have just outlined our cardinal pillars and issues that will be demanding to the ANC. And we can't say now that these were prepared to let go or not. Because, like you said, negotiations of this nature need you to be ready to compromise on certain things. But there are certain fundamental things that you know that these are deal breakers. For instance, the issue of land is not something that you can compromise on. But we'll go and engage, open-minded kind of an engagement, and then we'll take it from there. We want to work with the ANC. If there's any party that we can work with and work properly, is the ANC. Because ANC, when compromised, is not arrogant. an ANC when it doesn't have absolute majority, and it happens that you share power with them, they never recover from losing power. So if we're to go to election again in the next 2 years, the ANC is sitting at 40% now. For sure they're going to come back with 15%. Because after losing elections, they don't do any effort, nothing, to change some attitude. So once they say the ANC has lost what, you must know they are going to lose forever. So don't worry. That's why we prefer them, because they will never grow. We did a self-reflection, and we did very well as the EFF. We did what a well-established political party does, and including those buses, those people that were expelled for not bringing buses, we have no regret at all. They did not impact us anyway. I just said in the statement now, when we're running elections, you'll find that there are people who are not playing a role in the elections, but they are on the list. So there is a principle, a guideline that was issued during elections when we're constituting election teams and converting our structures into election teams, that everybody must go perform where they are assigned. And then some decided not to do their work. And because they were disturbing the work of the elections, we said, just go home, we'll see you after these elections. So we're going to see them to tell them to decline their seat in Parliament. Because you can't sit at home and then go and dance at the rants in Cape Town rants when people are fighting to put up a rally and all of that. You have no role to play. You sit at home, straight from rents, you go to Parliament. It will never happen that way. Never. It's not going to happen. Look, we are going to negotiate with the ANC the same way we did in 2016. We were stronger in 2016. I mean, we were in 2016. We were almost the same numbers. If I'm not wrong, those numbers changed in 2019 to be what they were, 1.888 something. So that was not the number that we went with to the negotiations with the ANC with. We went to the ANC with the number that we have now. The same number we have now. That's the number we took when we went to have the elections with the ANC. So this is what happened. So we were doing very well. After 2019, we did well in 2019, and we did well in 2021. And then we had a slight decline now. Why? The people who were supporting President Zuma after 2019, I mean, when President Zuma was removed, they had no any other home because they didn't want Cyril. So they ended up coming to us, not coming in a form of taking membership. But when it came to voting, they said, well, amongst other these parties, the closest to what we want is the EFF. And then they went to vote for the EFF. That's why if you look at the number of the EFF, which shocked us, and it is now being explained by this. In 2019, we were just sitting and then we get 350,000 votes. We're like, In KwaZulu-Natal, Which ones from where now? What happened? What did we do? We were shocked by receiving numbers. We even told you this. We repeated it in public platform. We don't know where those numbers came from. Now there is an explanation Those people were never ours. They were President Zuma's people. So it's good they found their home. They must relax in their home. There is absolutely no problem. We are fine. We are no. Like this. This is us. We are complete now. SG. There is no borrowed vote. So that's what explains CD. There is nothing that you can say the EFF didn't do and all of that. Hey, maybe that's why they did not get people. We got our people, and people who had borrowed us our vote, their vote, found a new political home, and then they went there. Remember, they didn't want Ramaphosa. In the ANC, they lost. Then, when they went to the polls in the country, they didn't vote for him. They voted for the EFF. And then, when they went to arrest the old man, then it was a mess. A discussion which I had with President Ramaphosa. But you can't do what you are doing. You are going to make him a hero. Because it's not explainable what you want to arrest him for. So, and July unrest should have told us that the man has got some support somewhere. And start treating him with care. But even after taking him out of jail, they still go on to harass him and all. None of them have gone to him to apologize. So, but we are happy. We are the happiest because we have achieved our mission in our lifetime. And that mission was to bring the ANC below 50%. That's what we have always told you, that this animal is going to be eaten piece by piece. So, Reina, we were holding on this other piece, preparing to go to the other piece of the animal. Hey, Zuma arrived and took that piece. We're eating piece by piece, and then Zuma went to take the piece we're going to. But we don't complain. We want to humble the ANC. The ANC is very humble. All of you, you can go on social media. All of them have disappeared. They have nothing to say. Slave Queen is on her. Some of how Chelete never fight the slave queen. Bafa Cheleta's chaba, by fight the slave queen. No more money for slave queens. It's done. We've taken the pest. The pest is gone. You can go and look at the ANC in Swan. Go and look at the ANC in Ikurule. Go and look at the ANC in Joburg. They are dysfunctional. They have no direction because they lost power during local government. That disarray, you are going to see it at a provincial level. Thanks to the EFF. We started this job and we are continuing with it. Someone was asking me if I'm going to resign because we performed bad. I won't do that. It's not happening. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. I'm in charge. I'm in charge. That must be very clear. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere in terms of politics. I'm not going anywhere in terms of health. I'm not going anywhere in terms of age. Ours is a generational mission. It's not a popcorn that will just pop and disappear. It's going to stay. We have a staying power. And in Parliament, we're going to lose, if we lose seats, 2-3 seats. And we used to razzmatazz that Parliament. Before we were 44, we were how many? 25. We were razzmatazing it, 25 of us. So even if you take 3 seats, we are not going back to 25. We are still where we're not during that time of 25. So we are not a declining party. The footprint of the EFF is now confirmed that it exists in every municipality in South Africa. It gets its votes. in every corner. It gets its vote now, TD, even in the suburbs. If you can go and look at the map of Joburg, you will see the VDs that EFF was taking in Midrand, in Centurion, in Randburg, and very interesting development. That we even beat DA in one of their stronghold. So the black middle class has found home in the EFF. They love the EFF. They vote for it. And they do so unashamedly. Proper progressive black middle class that is not money driven, that doesn't want to benefit from Rothschild, Rupert, Oppenheimer, Richard Branson of Virgin, what. Only blacks who don't benefit from that, the black elite, believes in the EFF, black middle class. So I can tell you now, go and check the votes of EFF in the areas where there are black people. You are going to find votes of the EFF. So, and then an organization like that you say is dying. It's not dying. In any election, there will always be dynamics. And the dynamic now is, there was an emergence of this party. Now we know it. I mean, what President Zuma did to us is what Mashaba did to us in Johannesburg. And then once we became aware, or there is a problem called Mashaba, we went to solve that problem, Shem. It's done. We finished it. You can go around and ask. For sure, he's checking quotations of hair products now. He's going back to do hair. Don't have time. We came here making noise. We reminded him many times, now you behave like you are something. And then the country showed him that is nothing. And the rest of those other people who went to eat people's monies, they received so many millions, so many. They can only brag about one seat and all of that. The biggest loser in this election is the ANC. And we must never try to be clever and shift that to the EFF and want to project the EFF as if it has lost a province or it has lost a country. People lose a country, people lose a province. You want to say the EFF has lost. What? We have won. And Elgas Togomen, Letlori Kiria, Relega di Office, Jabu Ministara. Jamushu. Now this time on Ariat, I will Arto Emela. Hey, Arto Emma. Little negotiation, Janet Juria di Quamara. Yautena Retsen. Arto Emela or ring it. Uta. Urai, but Banaba barring it. Aba Vutili, ANC, Abanya Gains, Zama, Barensi, Iba Fimiti, Iba Fi. Zama manskralo chegar ba footage man ba jile metsi a bola ba batho ba bona ba ba tlhokofala. Go and check when out to tawiti o garo you are principle beyond principle. Ai ra tla bonchana no le stay ne zena ka tla re ka bonchana ANC zena go thereje re ka bonchana lo mongwe because we have to sustain this organization. We accept the result, but it doesn't mean when there's a discrepancy there, you can't raise it. To raise a discrepancy does not mean you are rejecting the results, because that discrepancy may not have material effect. Even if you succeed, it will just give you are added 1,000, you are added 2,000, but it's to teach the IEC also a lesson and principle and expose these shenanigans that there are people who are swapping results from result slip and captured. So it's a principle we need to pursue. But when we looked at those discrepancies, that they are of no material effect. And therefore, you can't say on the basis of that, you reject the result. We accept the result. We accept the defeat. We are unable to congratulate anyone for being elected president. Because there's no president now. Yeah. There's no one. Even the one who's the current now, he doesn't know if he's going to be president tomorrow. Yeah. Nagito voter Limpopo, I just came back now. Wait, you are looking Unyaga urubiye, ugas biye, ugagarausi president. Yeah, ubulela ukhwatishigano. Must not talk after talking. What are you saying? Be clear. Utini baba kuluma. Want to hear what are they saying, and we are not going to call them. We don't call anyone. They will call us if they want us, and if they want us, we are here. We are not going to disappear. Let's talk. And out of those talks, the people of South Africa are going to benefit. We thank the Razzmatazz in all the universities. There's no single university that we lost. The young intelligentsia is the one that is able to read and internalize the 240-something election manifest. So, and we're going to do bashes for them. We're going to celebrate those victories in all those institutions where we won. We have told the Youth and Student Mobilization Committee, go back to thank those young people who stood on the queues and voted for the EFF. We must remain in close contact with our voters. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Commander-in-Chief. We'll take the last round of hands.
There was a story of government of national unity. Mandela. Yeah. We don't do government of national unity. We don't want it. So we want coalition. We don't want government of national unity.